high and without regret. He confirmed that in as much as he may have been seen to have taken a hardline position, he did so as to protect the members' funds. He confirmed that despite the stalemate, no society's funds had been lost or misappropriated. He challenged the incoming office that to endeavor to achieve more. Bit number 6, report and remarks by branch secretary. The outgoing secretary read out his report in which he confirmed that indeed the tenor had marked with unnecessary stalemate at council level. The stalemate had negatively affected the branch operations as no funds had been appropriated or dispersed. Sorry, it's the various centers. He also confirmed that the stalemate had made the head office to withdraw funds for each branch. The outgoing secretary decided that the incoming council will be considerate to other centers and not just be focused on Nakuru, since Nakuru had benefited from funding over the years at the expense of other practice centers. With number 7, report by the branch treasurer. The outgoing treasurer read his report in which he stated that there had been no much financial related activities in the branch as a result of the stalemate in the branch council. He thus confirmed that no audited books of accounts were available as none had been prepared. He confirmed that only Nakuru had been given a sum of Kenya shillings 450,000 as the checks for disbursements to the other centers had never been signed. Reactions and remarks by members. After the presentation of the reports, the members present were given an opportunity to react to the various reports. One member noted that the tenure of the outgoing council had been extremely detrimental to the branch as nothing substantial had happened in the branch. It was commented that the branch council should realize that funds belong to the members and same ought to have been used for the benefit of the members. It was also noted that members that the treasurer's report fell short of what could be considered as financial or accounting records. As such, the said report could not be adopted at the AGM. A member commented that it was good that the tenure was coming to an end. As such, this was an opportunity for the branch to turn over a new leaf. Members congratulated the incoming office and asked them to ensure that the society's funds are well devolved, even to the smaller centers, as this lack of inclusivity is what had created the stalemate in the branch. With number 9, swearing in of the new branch council members. The chairman of the branch elections committee confirmed the elections had been held for the position of the branch chairperson, vice chairperson, and secretary. These positions were open for voting by the entire branch membership. The other positions of the council members were voted for by the members of the respective centers endorsed chapter. The chair of the elections committee confirmed the following persons were duly elected to serve in the branch council. Number 1, Aston Michelle Ongege, branch chairperson. Number 2, Grace Wangare Wangeshi, branch vice chairperson. Number 3, Francisca Ngetich, branch secretary. Number 4, Stephen Imbwaga, Nakuru chapter representative. Number 5, Geoffrey Korir, Bomet center representative. Number 6, Edwin Moita, Cabranet center representative. Number 7, Andrew Birech, Sotek center representative. Number 8, Julius Mutai, Kericho Center representative. Number 9, Geoffrey Kirui, Molo Center representative. Number 10, Maina Cairo, Nyahururu Center representative. Number 11, Edward Mbogwa, Naivasha Center representative. Number 12, Mary Nyawera, Engineer Center representative. Number 13, Julius Yenko, Narok Center representative. The chair of elections committee thereafter proceeded to declare the said persons as having been duly elected, and the said persons took the oath of office. The incoming chair gave brief remarks and assured members that he will serve the members and the interests of the branch. He thanked the members for having faith in him by voting him in office. His desire was that by the time he exits office, members will have come back and developed interest in the branch affairs. He requested the incoming council to work with cohesion for the benefit and the progress of the branch. With number 10, any other business? The chair then invited a brief session for any other business. Members thanked Kericho Center for hosting the AGM and noted that it was a welcome idea to have the AGM rotate throughout the branch. It was also noted that Kericho court facilities needed a serious consideration, and the leadership was asked to follow up with the judiciary so that something can be done to improve the court facilities in Kericho. LSK's upcountry representatives who are in attendance encouraged the members of upcountry branches to take interest in the various appointments that are normally done by the National Council. They promised to support and route for applicants from the upcountry branches. They equally congratulated the new office and wished them well in the service to the society. The meeting was thereafter closed with a word of prayer from the new chair, and members were invited for lunch. Minutes compiled and signed by, they are to be signed.
Thank you, Secretary. So those are the minutes for the last AGM that the branch ever held, done in Kericho. Before we proceed to probably propose and have them adopted, I would just want to ask the membership, those who are present and maybe they were present during that meeting, if there are any corrections that they have noted, or any additions that they want to fill out included in the minutes. This will be the time to do that. Our vice chair is also just checking on the chat section and on the virtual platform. For those who are joining us on the virtual platform, if you wish to make any comments, just virtual hand, we should be able to see that and you will be allowed to comment. I don't know if there is anyone who has requested to make a comment. Okay, then we shall go page by page just to see the clarifications on page 1. Any proposed change? Okay, page 2. Any proposed change? Page 3. Any proposed change? I'm advised there is a change in page 3. Page 3 and also coming up to page 4. It is noted that Maralal Center was inadvertently excluded. Amongst the persons who are elected to serve in the branch council was a representative from Maralal. and that is Mr. Kelvin Kihoro. That name was inadvertently excluded, so that is a change that will be done to the minutes that will be signed. Okay, the next page 6. Okay, I don't think there is any other proposed change. Maybe we can check, is there anyone who wishes to propose those minutes as a true reflection? Yes, I can see someone online who wishes to make a comment. Mr. Kiprono Edmond, kindly proceed.
No, I want to confirm the minutes and I want to propose as a true reflection of the minutes of that day.
Thank you, Mr. Kiprono. Anyone seconding?
I wish to second, Mr. Chair. Victor Kirui, P105 19123/21. I practice in Kericho.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Victor Bet. So the minutes have been confirmed with that change. So once the corrections have been done, they will be signed by the chair and the secretary. The next item on the agenda is to pick out any matters arising from those minutes. And this is how I propose, so that we also save on time. We will still go page by page. If anyone feels there's a matter that is arising that ought to have necessitated a follow-up, you can just pick it up, raise your hand, whether you are physical here or in the virtual platform. You can just raise your hand. We'll allow you to comment. Any matters arising on page 1? Okay, any matters arising on page 2? Remember, for those of us who are joining on the virtual platform, if you want to make a comment, you are free to do so. You can actually unmute and we'll be able to hear you. Any matters arising on page 3?
Mr. Chair, I have one observation to make.
Yes, Mr. Kiprono.
Which we raised during the last meeting, and which I have not heard the branch council talk about is Kericho law courts. I think this is the only court in Rift Valley branch which does not have a functioning court. We are renting. I'm glad that the chair is still the chair who was elected then and who has now been elected. If you are not at a disadvantage, I don't know when you will be at a disadvantage, because you need to say something about Kericho. You have not visited this court. We are being rained on. We are being, we have a lot of issues in Kericho. This is the only court in Kericho County at large. I think we need to hear the voice of the council on the same. I am praying and I'm hoping that we'll see some reaction and we'll see some information go to the national office for purposes of a reaction. Otherwise, that is my main concern. So far, so good. We appreciate the effort of the council, Rift Valley, on all the conduct. We thank you for the support that you gave us when we lost our brother, Mr. Kefa Omari. I believe Mr. Imbwaga will talk on that on the same. But for now, let us talk about how Kericho is faring.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kiprono. We will make some address on that. We are proceeding. Yes, we can give a mic to Mr. Sigilai.
Can I react while just sitting?
Yes, yes, it's okay.
I've read about what you have on page 3, and I don't believe this mic is projecting my voice. On reactions and remarks by members, I note that what is written in the second paragraph is that a certain member noted that the tenure of the outgoing council had been extremely detrimental to the branch, as nothing substantial had happened in the branch. My question is this: do we have any leeway, either in the LSK Act or the branch regulations, etc., on how such dysfunctional officials, or maybe the elected officials who are dysfunctional, kind of a disservice, can they be impeached? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We can pass the mic over to Mr.
Yes, is it good morning or good afternoon? Yes, it is good afternoon, colleagues. You know, the problem that we normally have is the role of the branch is not actually well understood. If you ask me,
sorry for interjecting. The secretary requires your full names and your P105 and your place of practice.
My name is Guto Ogechi Benson. I practice under that name, Guto Ogechi and Company Advocate. My P105 is 20-262/2022. So I think it is a high time that we are told the functions of the branch, because if you ask me, I'll not be able to tell, because most of the functions are conducted by the chapter. So maybe that is where the problem is. I think it is high time now, because you have an AGM, to tell us your function and how you assist the members in their practice. Especially me, I'm always concerned with the practice environment, where I get money. So how you can assist us on that regard. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we can just give him the mic so that we can capture his details.
My name is Joel Kiporit Sigilai, trading as Sigilai Joel and Company Advocates in Nyahururu. The number is P105/5680/05 from Nyahururu Center.
Thank you. Okay, we are still on matters arising. We are still on matters arising. Page, anything on page 4? Page, yeah, that is the last page. Okay, let us try and address the issues that have been raised. I will start with Mr. Guto's issue, because I know that is something we will substantively respond to. So Mr. Guto, when I'll be making the comments on the branch report, I should be able to address that. Then I will also go to Mr. Sigilai's query about what should happen when we have a dysfunctional leadership at branch level. Is there a provision for impeaching? It appears we are in the season of impeaching, and we should tap into the spirit that is happening. Our regulations actually allow for members to call for an SGM. In the event members feel that they need something that needs to be addressed at a general meeting level, then there are provisions in the LSK regulations of 2020 on how members can actually call for an SGM for purposes of raising any issue, be they governance issues, be they financial issues, that they may want to raise. Once members call for such an AGM, they can proceed to pass whichever resolutions that they feel will be for the benefit of the society. An SGM that has been called can also be supported by any motion. Once the notice has been given, then the members can file a motion with at least 14 days before the AGM or the SGM, and that motion will be validly debated. So in the event any member feels that there is an issue that requires to be addressed by the entire membership, I would advise that you should not hesitate to call for an SGM. There is an entire procedure in terms even of the numbers that you need to raise, but that can happen. So don't feel like you are trapped with bad leadership. And the process, I can assure you, is not as tedious as impeaching a deputy president. It's less tedious than that. I will also want to make a comment on the issue raised by Mr. Edmond Kiprono from Kericho. Thank you, Kiprono, for joining in. Indeed, we agree that Kericho court facilities is one of the things that as a branch we can't really say we are proud of. Kericho used to have court facilities that were condemned because they appeared to be hazardous, and as such they were condemned, and the court facilities and all the judiciary staff and the judicial officers had to be transferred into an alternative facility, which is a rented facility. Now, for those who have probably practiced physically in Kericho, or those who have visited those premises, you will agree with me that indeed it is an eyesore, especially when it rains. The place becomes inaccessible. We did try our level best to engage with the judiciary and the JSC on the issue of the Kericho court facilities. We've had visits on that place with the JSC. We've had visits there with our LSK National Council, because we really wanted them to see what we are talking of, and we are not just complaining. Unfortunately, I must state that we have not gotten any substantive response. I think the last time when we engaged the CRJ, she mentioned that they are still trying to make budgetary approvals for Kericho, so that the premises can be better premises can be put up, but that has not been done. So I want to take it as advised by Mr. Kiprono, that is still something the incoming branch council will have to follow up on. In as much of practice has gone virtual, the reality is that once in a while we still find ourselves in physical courts, and the courts are not just for us, even for the litigants who are not able to join virtually, they need to access this courtroom. That is the whole essence of access to justice. So that is something that we will still try to follow up, in as much as we have not been able to achieve much, despite the engagements that we've had with the relevant authorities. I don't know if there could be any other council member who wants to make a comment on that. Maybe our Kericho representative, do you want to make a comment on that issue?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Maybe for the record, when we talk about the effects of rain in Kericho, it's not only outside, even the courts themselves, inside the courts, it actually floods. There is an incident, there are incidences where files had to be taken to out during the sun, the sunny hours of the day, to dry. That is how dire the situation is. And I actually represented the branch in meeting the CRJ. And though there is an indication that action will be taken. The problem is when, because it seems to be bogged down by bureaucracies, but I believe it is a war that is still to be fought. It really needs pressure. And many a times these senior officers from the judiciary have come to Kericho, but when they get back to Nairobi, it seems to be a continued forgotten story. But the fight goes on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I can see there's an interjection from Mr. Sigilai. Someone can just give him a mic.
I really feel sorry for Kericho locals, but in addition to that, I would like us, it can be a subject of an AOB, but in the Nyahururu High Court, we only have, we have no building, and technically we have a Nyahururu High Court, which has no judges up to now. We can put it in the AOB as we pressurize and put the matter of Kericho as number one, then Nyahururu High Court, we should have a court, and we should have resident judges.
Okay, thank you. Just remember to, I think that will aptly come as an AOB so that we can capture it and make it a subject of follow-up. If there is no any other matter arising, at this moment, I would just want to acknowledge a few of members who have joined us. I think it will be appropriate for me to acknowledge Mr. Byron Menezes, our ABA chair. Maybe Byron, you can just wave from where you are so that members can know you are present, and welcome so much. I'll also want to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Paul Maina Cairo. Paul Maina Cairo, I think you are seated in the wrong place. You kindly find your way this side. Paul Maina Cairo is a member of the branch council. I had not given his apology because I knew he was on the way. He had a challenge while coming, but he's the Nyahururu representative. So Mr. Maina Cairo, karibu. Karibu. At this moment, I would want to give now a report of the branch council, and I'll use also that opportunity to address the concern raised by Mr. Guto. This report has also been shared to us, so I will not necessarily read it verbatim. I will just, by way of highlights, give us the contents of the report. And I think actually Mr. Guto read my mind, because in this report we thought it was wise that we actually highlight what the branch is, what the branch leadership is, because one of the challenges we realized when we took over office is that our members across the branch actually did not understand the structures of the society. Members just know the national office, and then they know their center or chapter leaders. And it was important that we take this opportunity to just explain to members what the branch is. Now, the structure of the Law Society of Kenya, as provided by the Law Society of Kenya Act, is that the Law Society of Kenya, the highest organ is the AGM of the members, the national AGM of the members. And then we have the LSK Council, which is headed by our president, Madam Faith Odhiambo. After the LSK Council, we have the branches, and the LSK Act has given eight branches across the country. Rift Valley is just one of those branches. The branches came as a need to devolve leadership and devolve governance when it comes to practice issues, because it was realized that it will not make sense if we have a problem with maybe a magistrate here in Nakuru. We don't need to call Madam Faith to come and address those issues. So that's why the society thought it's wise to devolve practice issues and governance issues, and that's what created the branches. The branches are still quite big when it comes to geographical reach, and thereafter, and that means the branches also devolved governance to now the practice centers. In Rift Valley branch, we have 11 practice centers. And these practice centers are Nakuru, Naivasha, Nyahururu, Kericho, Bomet, Narok, Molo, Sotik, Maralal, Kabarnet, and Engineer. All those practice centers fall under Rift Valley branch. Now, people normally ask me, why do we call ourselves Rift Valley branch? And yet we are not, we do not cover areas like Eldoret, which are also in Rift Valley. Now, Eldoret is under North Rift branch. In the wisdom of the crafters of the Law Society Act, they did not want to call this branch South Rift, because prior to the branch coming into force, there was already an existing Rift Valley Law Society. People used to call it RVLS. And so they said, so that we don't kill that identity, we just call the branch Rift Valley branch. But geographically, we don't go up to Eldoret. We just cover the centers that I have mentioned: Nakuru, Naivasha, Nyahururu, Kericho, Bomet, Narok, Molo, Sotik, Maralal, Kabarnet, and Engineer. Now, according to the LSK regulations, if a practice center has more than 50 advocates practicing within that center, now those advocates qualify, or that center qualifies to not be called a center, but to be called a chapter. If you have more than 50 practicing advocates, you qualify to be called a chapter. Now, what is the difference between and a center, over and above the number of advocates practicing there? If you are a chapter, then you are given some level of financial autonomy. For example, Nakuru is a chapter because within Rift Valley branch, it has the highest number of advocates, almost now approaching 400. And what happens is that the Nakuru chapter leadership will present their budget to the Rift Valley branch council. The Rift Valley branch council will consider that budget, and based on the resources that we will have received from the national office, we will disburse money to the chapter leadership. Now, the branch council does not micromanage what the chapter leadership does with the money. For example, for those who are present when the Nakuru chapter had their AGM, you saw they presented their accounts and how they spent the money. So we are not the ones who told them, do this and this, use this money for this purpose. We just disburse monies to them, and then they decide how they want to use the money. That is the level of autonomy that a chapter has. The smaller practice centers, which don't have more than 50, have not been given that level of financial autonomy. That does not mean that they cannot access funds. For them, when they have an activity, they normally present also their budgets and their list of activities that they want to carry out throughout a financial year. And once that list has been brought to the branch council, we will go through that list, approve it or disapprove it if need be. We've never disapproved any list. But whenever they have an activity, the center leadership will write to the branch council and say, on this and this date, we intend to hold this activity. We want to visit a children's home. We want to have legal aid. We want to do this and this. Kindly fund this activity to this, up to this amount. And based on the resources that the branch will be having, then monies will be disbursed to the center specifically for that purpose. So that is the difference. That's why members of a center, their activities are funded directly from the branch. But members of a chapter, those who are more than 50, their activities are regulated by their chapter leadership. And that's why, Mr. Guto, maybe you are wondering, you are seeing the chapter doing a lot of things. It's because we don't micromanage what the chapter does. Once we disburse monies to them, it's up to them to do what they need to do. I must report at this point that Kericho has more than 50 advocates, and they did apply to be recognized as a chapter. The branch council considered that application, and at branch council level, it was approved, but this approval also has to go to the national council level. So at national council level, there are still some requirements that the Kericho to provide. I want to believe that is something the Kericho leadership will be taking up, so that they can be recognized fully as a chapter and also attain that level of financial autonomy. And we encourage every other practice center that has more than 50 advocates to apply for chapter recognition. Now, as part of the report, when we took over office in 2022, one of the key objectives that we wanted was to revive the leadership at our chapter and center levels, because we realized that we did not have proper leadership and cohesion within the branch. So we have tried as much as possible sure that every center, every chapter has a functional leadership. Periodically, we engage this leadership. We call them for capacity building. We call them for meetings with the branch council and give us reports on what is happening at their chapter levels. I must add that the leaders that we've had for the past 2 years have been quite effective. And indeed, much of what they need to do has been happening. Practice issues are now being addressed at chapter and center levels, and that's why they don't actually even need to go to the head office at national level, because the leaders are able to execute their mandates. The other thing that we think has worked well over the past 2 years is that we have had an action by our members for an increase in let me call it judicial infrastructure. But when I mean infrastructure, I just don't mean the court buildings. I mean everything that is provided by the judiciary, and increase the number of judicial officers. As a branch council, we've had engagements with the JSC. We've had engagements with the leadership of the judiciary, and this has actually helped in prioritizing the judiciary's strategic plans when it even comes to establishment of new courts. As a branch, we have benefited so much from this. During the tenure of this office, we have seen the establishment of Maralal High Court. That has greatly improved practice space in that region. I can tell you our secretary here, Mr. Kihoro, will not be happy when I tell you about Maralal High Court, because he's monopolizing all the briefs there. Or I can tell you there's a very big practice space that is in Samburu. So please start opening branch offices there. We have also had magistrates courts established at Rimuruti. That's a place where hitherto people didn't even know that there's a town called Rimuruti, a very vibrant place. Actually, when these courts were established, you'll be surprised to know that the first people who are benefiting from Rimuruti courts were quacks. There's actually a quack who had the audacity of opening an office and branding her name there. But the Nyahururu Center leadership was quick to flag that out. and now we have vibrant practice in Rimuruti. We've also had the establishment of Olkalau Law Courts. Olkalau Law Courts is also very, very vibrant. And together with the Olkalau Magistrate Courts, we now have the Nyandarua High Court, complete with an ELC division. And that has increased practice space. And we have we also have a gazettement. This is as a gazettement of Wamba and Baragoi courts. They have been gazetted, but they are yet to be operationalized. But that is something we are still engaging on how it can be operationalized. The challenge of Wamba and Baragoi is maybe because of the security issue, the judiciary must put in place proper security measures for the judiciary staff and the judicial officers who will be posted there. So indeed, we have seen an increase in practice space, but we will still continue to engage. We'll still continue to engage the judiciary so that we don't release the pedal. You know, once we release the pedal with the judiciary, they forget about you. Not to mention, during this tenure, we were able to get the permanent bench of the Court of Appeal that sits here in Nakuru, and all of us are encouraged to make use of these facilities that have come near us. I know for a fact when I was a young advocate, I used to shy off from filing cases in the Court of Appeal. Ukitandikwa High Court, unaona hiyo process ya kwenda Court of Appeal is so stressful, unawachana nayo. But once this thing came to Nakuru, you realize, these are just the same good old judges, and we no longer have that fear that it's a very difficult place to practice. So you are encouraged to practice. There was a time I sat with their pro bono committee, and they are encouraging us to register for the Court of Appeal pro bono cases. That is part of what we have seen in terms of improvement in practice area. The other thing that we have been able to unlock during this period is that when we took office, indeed, as you have seen from the minutes of the previous meeting, there was a serious stalemate in terms of leadership at branch level. And I don't want to go to the details of why there was a stalemate then, because that has no longer the issue now. But as a result of that stalemate, a lot of things got, and welfare issues, practice issues could not be advocated for or advanced at our respective centers and chapters. That is one thing that we really endeavored to unlock, and I must use this opportunity to thank this council, the outgoing council, that indeed we have been able to work with a lot of cohesiveness, and we were able to unlock whatever stalemates were there. We were able to unlock the funds of the branch that were stuck at head office. These funds had been stuck there for quite some time because of the perceived governance issues. But when we were able to show that the branch is now functionally operating, then these funds were released, and these funds is what we have been able to disburse to our respective chapters and centers for purposes of practice issues. And what has been the effect of that? The effect of unlocking this stalemate is that we have seen improvement with regards even to the mandate of our chapter and center leadership. One of the things that we desired to do when we took office, actually by the time we were taking office on 15th October 2022, there was a justice tournament that was just around the corner. And we said, this justice tournament, we want to front it as a branch. We don't want just to say that let Nakuru take their team, let Nyahururu take their team, let Kericho take their team. We said, let's go to this justice tournament as a branch. And I'm happy to report that indeed our presence there was ground shaking. You know, it would have been embarrassing if we could lose volleyball, and we come from Rift Valley. I think our brothers and sisters from Kericho and Nyahururu were able to give us good players in volleyball. And that was in 2022. We are now in 2024, and we are still the defending champions for volleyball when it comes to the Justice tournament. Participating in this tournament was something that had almost been forgotten at our branch because of that maybe lack of funds and lack of proper governance. I want to encourage each and every one of you, whenever we call for participation the Justice tournament, please turn up. We have been able to have effective participation in the legal aid weeks. Before we took office, legal aid never used to be effective especially in our smaller centers. I know in Nakuru we've always had the legal aid, but now we've been able to devolve that, and we are able to provide legal aid to members of our communities in all our 11 centers. And in our report, you'll be able to see what has been happening when it comes to legal aid in all these centers. We have been able to negotiate and call for physical CPD programs, which are happening now in our respective centers. Places like Nyahururu, nowadays they get physical CPDs. We get physical CPDs in Kericho. We get physical CPDs in Narok. And that is also for the benefit of our members. Periodically, and unfortunately, I normally don't get responses whenever I ask for what topics you would want as our members, what topics you'd want the CPD committee to bring to our region, because they normally ask, what do you feel is relevant in your region? I've asked that twice, but I never got responses. So we almost leave it to the CPD committee to decide what they will bring for us. But if you feel there's anything that you want that is relevant for this region, please don't shy to share it with us or share it with the leadership so that we can pass it on to the CPD committee and ensure that it is brought to our region. We have also facilitated community outreach and charity initiatives within the branch. One thing that also put us in the limelight was when we had the Mai Mahiu floods early in the year, and I think Naivasha, as one of our centers, took the lead in conducting a humanitarian visit to the victims of the flood, and we really appreciate them for that. Nyahururu Center has been very instrumental in providing legal aid to inmates at Nyahururu GK prison. They also do charity events at a primary school called Kapinda Sim. That is something they have taken as a CSR in that center, and we really appreciate. And that is just a tip of the iceberg. I know many other charity events and community outreach programs are normally conducted within our centers and in our chapters. You will actually be able to see these reports that we have highlighted in our report. I don't want to read the report word for word because I know you all have received, or you can access these reports, and you will be able to see what has been happening in the branch. Let me also just take this opportunity to appreciate you as our members for the support that you have given us. Sometimes when push comes to shove and we require you to come out and speak strongly against some issues that we are experiencing in the society, you normally do come out. We remember when we needed to speak against impunity, disobedience of court orders, and to advocate for the rule of law. We called you as our members, and indeed you are able to come out. We had a peaceful demonstration in support of the rule of law and to speak against impunity. you'll realize as lawyers, we do hold and we do play a very key role in the society. Sometimes we see dysfunction and a breakdown of many other institutions of governance within the society, and people still look up to the society for this for the issue of the societal fabric. And whenever we call upon you, we appreciate when you come out. I remember in Nyahururu, they had a problem with the land registrar who was not living up to his mandate. And in collaboration with the Mount Kenya branch, they also had a demonstration against that registrar. And that registrar was actually transferred. And I can tell you, having interacted with the people in government, and both arms, all the arms of government, be it executive, be it the legislative, be it the judiciary, they respect and they fear your voice. Whenever we say that lawyers will demonstrate against this or lawyers have an issue against this, I can tell you they listen to it keenly. So please continue developing this interest when it comes to matters of the society, because you are an organization that Kenyans are looking up to. We appreciate the members who also joined the Gen Z demonstrations. They gave a lot of credence. They gave a lot of credence to that demonstration. Remember the first day of the demonstration, the lawyers participated in that demonstration. The next day, I think when we pulled out, the goons took over and the demonstration lost their gusto. But when we were there, it had a lot of credence. So let us continue engaging in this community and society projects, because that is also what we are called to do. As a branch leadership, we also covet and desire your continuous rebuke. For those who read the good book, somewhere in between Genesis and Revelation, somewhere it says that you should rebuke someone with love. Yes, I read the Bible, so I know it is somewhere between Genesis and Revelation. It says you rebuke with love. So we normally appreciate when we receive positive criticism, so that we can improve on that. For that, that ushers me to something that I must say. One of the challenges that we've had as a society, maybe it comes to the timely disbursement of funds. I know chapters and centers sometimes requisition for funding for their activities, and sometimes the funds do not come as fast as they would desire. This sometimes we attribute it to the fact that we also receive these funds gradually from the head office, but we have tried as much as possible to ensure that our chapters and our centers do not ground at a halt. Whenever there's an activity that needs to be funded, we try as much as possible to fund it in good time. Over and above that, I'll want, as I conclude on my report, I will want to take this opportunity just as an individual to thank each and every one of you for having faith in the council that is outgoing, the leaders that are outgoing. You have supported them to the level that you have, and indeed they also have been able to discharge their mandate because of your support. I must also acknowledge that as a chair, I have experienced a lot of support from this team that is sitting here with me. I have not had challenges working with them. I must say one of the things as a personal highlight is that we've had several meetings concerning issues of the chapter, but it's only on one issue that I had to call for a vote. Most of the things we were able to deliberate and agree by consensus. It is only once that we had to go for a vote. But for me, I think that is evidence that we were able to work with a lot of cohesion and a lot of understanding. So I give my personal appreciation to my colleagues whom we have served together with in the branch leadership. For those who will be exiting, I do pray that God will bestow you with the blessings for the service you have given this society. That being the summary of my report. Of course, you will have an opportunity to read it in details. That being the summary of my report, I'll just want to open the floor for any reactions, any comments that you as the members of the branch you may want to make, so that the same can be noted. The ones that will need to be addressed can be addressed by any of our leaders who are here. Karibuni. And this also applies to those who are in the virtual platform. Please don't feel you have been left out. You are also free to make comments. As you make a comment, just remember to give us your name, your P105 number, and the center where you practice from. Karibuni.
Thank you so much. My name is Winnie Mumala, P105, 9253-6/12. Thank you for taking us through what the branch is all about and what's the mandate. But perhaps I'll want to understand, because you've shared the maximum or the minimum number per center to graduate to a chapter. What about for the centers? Is there a maximum or a minimum number for them to be considered as such? For purposes of advocates understanding, what are all this about? Because I think Rift Valley, as you mentioned, we're about 11. And now what informed that 11 to come or to be created? I think that will shed more light for us now to appreciate what the branch is all about. Thank you.
Okay, as someone else also thinks about a question, let me just answer that. The creation of chapters and the centers is actually a function of the Law Society of Kenya Act. The 11 practice centers were created by Act, and they are available in the Law Society of Kenya Act in, I think it's schedule 2 or 3 of the Act. If you look at that, you will see that the centers have actually been named. I know we have had a little bit, let me just call it a little bit of I don't know if I can use the word challenge, because our practitioners from all Kalau have desired to be recognized as a center. Unfortunately, the branch council does not have the mandate to create a center, because the center is created by an act of parliament. And if we are to recognize, or if we need to have another center, it will probably behove now the branch members to maybe pass that resolution. If we pass that resolution, we will forward it to the LSK AGM. We take it to the AGM and tell the LSK AGM that we desire to have an extra center in the branch, maybe if it is Olkalau or any other place. And then if it is passed through that AGM, then they'll have to take it to Parliament for the LSK Act to be amended so that a center can be created. So that's why we still have 11 centers, and we do not have the mandate to either increase or reduce those centers. The numbers is a creation of the regulations. The regulations provide that a center that has more than 50 practitioners qualifies to become a chapter. So that is also a creation of the regulations, not of the branch council. I hope that answers the question. Okay. Any other reaction to the report? And just before Mr. Guto talks, I'm advised to clarify that currently Olkalau is it's under engineer, and Rimuruti is under Nyahururu. And same for Eldamaravine. Eldamaravine, we know there are practitioners there, but they are also under Cabernet. So they should not feel like they are left out. They don't have a platform for leadership. Thank you. Mr. Guto?
I wanted to ask another question. I don't know whether I should still introduce myself.
No, the secretary has captured. I don't know whether the first person gave her details. Okay, thank you.
I was just asking about the money that is disbursed. Which formula is used when you're because now you notice that Nakuru has almost 400 lawyers. If you go to a center like Kericho, it has a little bit lower number, and these other centers. So is it possible for you to tell us the formula that you normally use in disbursing those funds to those centers? Because it means that now the main function of the branch maybe to distribute resources to the chapters. So which formulas do you normally use in distributing the funds to the chapters?
Okay, thank you. Let me just address that because I cannot see any other hand. Thank you, Mr. Guto. The issue of disbursement of funds has historically within this branch been a thorny issue, and that is actually what led to the stalemates in the previous leadership. So what we did as a council was to ensure that there is at least some what we would call equitable distribution of resources. It is not equal, and it was not based on a mathematical formula that I will say for Nakuru we use 1 + 1 or the number of 1 shilling, 1 vote. You know that thing of 1 shilling, 1 man, 1 vote. We did not use that because for one, we realized that there was need also to support. There was need to support the smaller centers. What we were advised by the head office, because we sought advice from them, what we were advised from the head office is that we should consider the budgets and the list of activities for all the chapters and all the centers. Once they come, we look at how much have we been given from the head office or how much do we have in our coffers. And then the council will deliberate on all these budgets. They will deliberate on the budgets and disburse the funds so that we are able to share the little resources that we have. We are able to share so that at least every center gets something. Because we realized if we are to apply a mathematical formula that has not been keenly thought through, we will end up in the situation where the branch was initially, which caused a lot of distrust amongst the branch. So we have tried our level best to disburse the funds according to the budgets that we receive and from the backdrop of the funds that are available, but not based on a mathematical formula. So that is what we have done when it comes to disbursement of funds. But you'll remember for what I said for the centers, we don't necessarily disburse funds directly to them. They have to present an activity that they want to do. The activity is vetted, and then that activity is funded. So that is what has been happening. I think there's the secretary also wants to say something.
Yes, Council Guto. There's also another way we have managed to send funds to the centers and the chapters, and that is on requisition. We have relied a lot on requisitions. If, for instance, Nakuru wants to do something, they will send us a budget, and then we'll consider it vis-a-vis what we have in the coffers, and we'll disperse the funds. but we cannot now just disburse, especially for the centers. We cannot just disburse the funds because they're also not required to have an account to hold those funds. So what we have relied on is the requisitions. For instance, if NAROC wants to have to host some activity, for instance, legal awareness. The legal awareness week, they will need tents, they will need chairs, they will need perhaps some books to write on. So they will come up with a budget and then they will send, for instance, they want a 50,000 shillings, we consider. The same with other centers.
Okay, thank you. We can have a microphone. Just on a light note, as we pass over the microphone to her, you know, the regulations require that you only speak once in an AGM. That is what our regulation normally require. But because we are a smaller group and hatusumbuani sana, so that's why we have extended the courtesy. You can ask 3, 4, 5 questions if you so wish.
Yes,
So you know, I'm saying this because people may think that we have selected the ones who are asking questions. Please note, we have not. Anyone can ask a question.
I actually noticed there was no hand, so I said I had a burning question. There's this concern that we see maybe perhaps some other branches where you're able to do a collective event. For Rivali, I've seen, of course, one of them was the Justice Cup tournament. Perhaps maybe we can have the dinners and any other joint event. Is there a reason maybe perhaps that is not possible with Rivali, or is it something that you can also consider so that also these chapters and centers can have many events that they're able to participate together and also contribute towards the cohesion and interaction and the unity that I think the branch requires for purposes of that, you know, moving together as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, I think a council member can assist even in answering that.
I think what Ms. Winnie has indicated,
It's something that we have actually discussed as a branch, and I can guarantee you that out of the success of the Justice Cup, as a branch in previous meetings just before we went into the elections, we were actually coming up with a calendar of events. So I know the incoming branch will have more of those events. It's actually something that we actually deliberated on. So a calendar of events is coming up, including a sports day, including probably we're also looking at the possibility of having probably a joint end of year dinner and a gala. Now we are just working on the nitty-gritties of this, of the logistics and planning with the help of the chapters and the centers. So that is something that we are actually working on. So expect the same with the incoming branch. Okay, thank you. I think there's a question.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
P105 14861/18, Mangi Penina, the Nakuru LSK chair. I have a question to your council, and this question is on funds. I have had you say that chapters and centers need to give a schedule of activities. Now, I think you can confirm that most of the time as Nakuru chapter, we have adequately given you our schedule of activities for the year. And when we have done that, we have had to constantly remind you to send us funds for our activities, which I think is a bit unfair considering looking at the report, the branch has adequate monies to fund these activities. Also, another thing, Nakuru is one of the most vibrant chapter. In fact, it is the most vibrant chapter in Rift Valley. And I want to ask, why is it that we have to wait for you to allocate us funds when we've already given you a schedule of activities and the budgets? And something else, like now we have legal awareness happening in a week's time. We have not received funds yet. And Mr. Muchala, I think I had to remind you to consider writing us a check so that we can effectively hold our legal awareness. Something else, and my former council members and the current council members can attest, we have had to do kayamba when we have to, when we want to hold certain activities like our gala, our annual dinner. We get monies from the branch, and we also have to have our members contribute when you have already sent you a budget. I wish I would get an answer to that. That is, I see the secretary is smiling. I don't know why, but I wish we didn't have to remind you to send us the funds. It is really inconveniencing. Another thing on funds, I wish you sent us funds to fight quacks in a mtutumie tutukae nayo. We'll give you a budget and an explanation of how we have spent the monies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think there was also another hand somewhere here.
My question relates to funds. I've heard the two of you saying that one has to provide a schedule of activities for the year as budgets. And Mr. Kehoro has added something to do with requisition. And my question is, there is no basic minimum amounts that either a chapter or a center can have in their account as a minimum balance, or an amount that is distributed equitably across the board. Must we requisition and maybe provide a budget and a schedule of activities? And then this is just thinking loudly. If a center or a chapter decides not to do any of those, no requisition, no providing a budget, no providing of a schedule of activities, it means they are going to be without finances, year in, year come. And if we have a vibrant chapter like Nakuru, for example, they bring their list of activities, they bring a budget, they call you over the phone, they visit you, they can end up being very fat financially because they are doing all that. And where will be fairness? Thank you.
Thank you. Let me start with
Mr. Muchala, maybe before you start.
Please proceed, Mr. Kiprono.
Yes, just a concern. Just like my previous colleague just said, I believe that the disbursement and the sharing of these funds is based on equitable distribution of members. Now, does it mean that if Kericho, let's say, does not give a schedule of events and Nakuru gives a schedule of events, the funds which were supposed to go to Kericho goes to Nakuru because Nakuru is vibrant? No, we want to change that. Let us go to the issue of, let us give Kericho what belongs to Kericho and to Nakuru what belongs to Nakuru. Not in time, but as and when is required to.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if there's any other intervention on the virtual platform. Okay, let me address those issues, and also any of my council members will be invited to address. Let me start with the issue by Mr. Sigilai. Now, when we took over office, as I mentioned when I was highlighting the report, one of the things that we did was to have a capacity building for all our center and chapter treasurers and the chairs. We invited them, and we invited the head of audit from LSK, that is Mr. Joa Banyika, to come and take us through the management of LSK finances and branch finances. One of the things that we were trained on and advised on is how and when to disburse funds to our chapters and centers. And this is what I explained, that for chapters, once they present their budget, once a chapter presents their budget, we as a branch council, subject to availability of funds, we are supposed to release funds to them, and they are the ones who will know how they use those funds. For the centers, they have their budget or list of activities which they intend to do the course of the year. When the time for that activity comes, they are supposed to do a requisition. They said, according to the list of activities that we presented, in the month of March, we wanted to do a tree planting activity in Mau Forest. So we need funds for this. That is the requisition that the secretary was talking about. And the council considers that requisition, confirms it was part of their list of activities, and based on the amount and the availability of funds, the same will be funded. Now, for centers, we are not allowed to give them money to hang around, just the way you have said that we give them maybe 100,000, 200,000, whichever amount, just for them to sit with it until they get an activity. So unfortunately, if they don't do those activities, then they will not access the funds. And that's why we keep on encouraging our members. And it is good that today we are having this AGM, because now members need to know, you need to be pushing your leaders to do these activities that you want done in your respective centers. As a council, I don't think we have ever shut down any requisition from any center. Probably we have reduced the amounts requisitioned, but we have never shut down any requisition and said this center should not do this activity. So we want to encourage our members, and it is good that I'm seeing we have good numbers in the AGM. We have representation from across board. Please, as we start this financial year, if you have an activity, ensure it is brought to the council. That's why you have a representative sitting in the council. But also make sure it was part of the budget that was prepared. The same kind of also applies to the query that has been raised by Mr. Kiprono from Kericho. When we took office, Kericho was still a center, and it was also their funds were also being managed in the same manner. They have since applied to become a chapter. Just a few issues that are required by the head office Nairobi for that chapter status to be confirmed. But once they do that, they will be operating like Nakuru. They will be sending their budget, and whatever amount is approved for Kericho will be sent to their bank account, and it will be upon them to know how they distribute that money to their various activities. Truth be told, this money is never enough. It never covers all the activities that are supposed to be done in a center or even in a chapter. That's why you see once in a while, even a chapter like Nakuru will still requisition for specific funding on specific activities. Coming to Nakuru, yes, I appreciate the leadership of Nakuru, both the leadership, the former leadership and the incoming. They have kept Nakuru to become very vibrant despite the meager resources. And if you look at the LSK Act and the resources, it says amongst the ways of raising funds for the society is from member contribution. So Nakuru Chair, please don't kill the Kayamba. It's not a bad thing. Let it be encouraged, because we might never find enough resources to cover all our activities. But I was hoping the Nakuru chair would at least cut us some slack. I think if there is a chapter that has really benefited from funds is Nakuru, and it's because yes, they do have quite a number of activities, and I was told, allow me just to mention this because it also ties into what Mr. Guto had raised. As a branch council, we normally don't want to appear as if we are competing with the chapter and center leadership. We don't want to appear as if a chapter organizes a dinner in their chapter, then the branch also runs to organize a dinner. It will appear as if we are competing for recognition. So we don't want to do that. We allow the chapters to run the show the leaders in the chapters and centers to run their show in their respective areas, so that we will not necessarily come to organize a function in Nakuru. Would probably want the Nakuru leaders to organize that, and if necessary, we help in raising the funds or in supporting whatever needs to be done. True, there has been delays in sometimes disbursing these funds to our respective treasurers or to the accounts for Nakuru chapter. We have had some, let me call it internal challenges because of the very nature of our branch. For example, you realize we are the largest branch in Kenya when it comes to geographical coverage. The chair is based in Nakuru. The treasurer is based in Bomet. Secretary is based in Maralal. And sometimes because of governance issues, for us to even access funds, there must be a congruence of all these people. So sometimes getting them as soon as we would have wanted does not work. So we try as much as possible to access funds and disburse them, but sometimes it may not be as fast as the members will have desired. If you will go through the report, it is actually something we have admitted. If you go through the report, it is something that we have admitted, because we told ourselves we also need to look at ourselves with some introspect and see which areas do we need to improve, or the new council will need to improve going forward. And that quick disbursement of funds is something we have admitted was a challenge, and we are hoping going forward that will not happen. On the issue of funding for the fight against quacks, yes, we agree. As a council, we actually had approved some funds to be used for fighting for the fight against quacks, because we realize we need to protect our bread and butter area. But let me just advise. Let me just give advice maybe especially to Nakuru, because you are currently the only one running as a chapter. Once you realize that you have been given some funds, please be able to budget for those funds, because we do not necessarily want to be micromanaging your funds, because you are a chapter. We will not be saying, let's give you money for quacks, let's give you money for annual for a dinner, let's give you money for. It is now for the chapter leadership to know how they distribute their funds based on how much they have been given. But we take all that as I'd mentioned, we appreciate positive criticism, and we want to believe that even the incoming council will appreciate the need to disburse these funds as fast as possible. There's a hand on the virtual platform. Edmond, do you want to say something?
Yes, I just have one request. I believe this goes generally to the issue of funding. I think I agree with you that it's a thorny issue, but then I think the council needs not to be so rigid about it. if there is funding to be done and you have the money in your accounts and you know the money has to go to Maralal, then you need not to be begged by the members of LSK from Maralal to fund them. All you have to do is to release the amounts. The one experience which I've had as a leader of LSK in Kericho is that we've been begging. And Muchela, you know this. You've had several situations where you have to switch off your phone because Kiprono is calling. So kindly, if it is necessary for you to release the funds, release the funds. If it is not necessary, give me the reason that I have not been able to receive this money because of A, B, C, D. And don't love some areas more than others. Let me use that for the lack of a better choice. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Prono. I don't know whether I should say you probably have the unfortunate you have the unfortunate timing of maybe calling me when I'm switching off my phone against stalkers and but I don't necessarily switch off my phone. I think I'm always available when members need to reach me. And then again, all these council members can be reached. You don't have to reach just the chair. Anyone can be reached, and anything that you give your representative will be brought to the council. I need to probably at this point, Mr. Kiprono, you have been a leader in Kericho, and you know that as Kericho, you applied for a chapter status, and I think there are some issues that you are told to comply with, which I think have not been complied with. Because if you become a chapter status, you will not even need to beg for money in the words that you are using. We had even written a check in the name of LSK Kericho chapter, and all we were waiting for was for an account to be opened so that check can be deposited. But that account has not been opened. So some of those funds are still hanging they have not been disbursed. But then again, I appreciate your concern of saying it should not appear as if you are begging for the money. But I must at this point say that, we are governed by the regulations we are given by the auditors from Nairobi. One of the biggest challenges that the former council had was because the chair was being asked to disburse monies directly to personal accounts in the various centers and chapters. And he was being told that is not allowed. That is not allowed. Unless you are funding a specific activity, then the branch treasurer can send money to the treasurer of a particular activity. But we can't just send money to sit in a treasurer's account waiting for an activity to happen. So we may not be allowed by virtue of the LSK regulations to just disburse monies to sit with the center treasurers waiting for the activity to happen. And then we also need to confirm that these funds that come from head office, they come in bits. They don't just disburse them at the beginning of the year. All the money is sent into the account. They normally send it in tranches. So it is not that we get the money very fast. It normally comes in tranches, and that's why sometimes you're also forced to disburse it in tranches. I don't know if there's any council member who has a reaction before we proceed. Okay, there's a comment by a member.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
B155267. Currently the chair was a plunge. First and foremost, I thank you all members who contributed towards my Mayu flood disaster. Mr. Piram, thank you so much. You traveled all the way from Western and brought the donation to my office. You were subsequently delivered at my. Thank you so much. And for members of Rift Valley, you donated a lot. Some of you had even to do away with some of your shoes to ensure that the victims of the floods got something. Thank you for that. And the branch, you did also something. Thank you for that. Now, previously I was a chair, I was the treasurer. Naivasha, we have a more vibrant center than Nakuru branch, as you said. But as a treasurer, I used to spend money from my pocket to cater for activities of the center because funds will always come later after the activities. But for the first time, I think for the 1 year, you did it well. So you are sending a little money, but we could receive that little, and I appreciate it. However, during RSK campaigns, you see people moving around. You know what they do during campaigns. There is a lot of money up there. I don't know how much you receive, but please know that there is a lot. If they are giving you that little, please tell them to increase. There is a lot of money up there, I know. So that this time around, our activities in the branches and the centers can move on smoothly. Number 3, quacks, masqueraders. I have had Nakuru branch. And I think we saw this on TV. There was somebody, masquerader, who had practiced, in fact, who had a novice here in Nakuru. Naivasha is worse. Naivasha is worse. And some of them are untouchable. I don't know which plans as a branch you have to eradicate this mess among ourselves. Some of these masqueraders are girlfriends of the DCI. Some masqueraders are the brokers. So, to some extent, they're untouchable. But I'm told there's a rat which can hit some of these enemies in our profession. So I think we should do something jointly as a branch, whether it is in Nakuru, whether it's in Kericho, whether it is in Naivasha, so that a masquerader in Naivasha, remember, has a branch in Nakuru, has a branch in Marade. And unless we come together as professionals, it will be very difficult to eradicate this mess among ourselves. So, when Muchera, I think you know how far we have come. Since I knew you as a young boy who used to come to Naivasha from the farm of Mukite Musangi. Now, these young ladies, I also came with some young ladies from my plant. Now I'm the chair. I don't know how they are going to make their money. Remember, I'm a masquerader. can do a sale agreement and is paid 100K. But for a young advocate, he's being paid 5K. Now, who is who in the profession? What are we going to do with this mess? In fact, I don't know whether it is already in Naivasha, where we have this problem. They have even gone further, and they are now filing succession matters. In Naivasha, we have no succession matters being handled by advocates. They are being handled by these courts. So, Wanachia, think about that. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Maybe as you answer the question, or the questions that are being raised about the funds, it would be important to, sorry, my name is Peter Ndishu, P105-137-85/17. As you answer the questions, I would like to understand what are the direct expenses of the branch, other than the monies that are disbursed to the centers, being that the branch does not have an office. Therefore, I don't think their staff are supposed to be paid or other overheads. So if you can address what are the direct expenses of the branch, other than the monies that are being disbursed to the centers. And also, does it mean that if there are no activities by the centers, then the money stays in the accounts? Or what happens to this money that at the end of the year is still in the accounts? If you can address that as well.
Maybe I can, let me just give my comments on the issue that Senior Masese has raised on the issue of quacks. This is something that we've really discussed year in, year out. And I can give you the assurances that, like Nakuru here, we have put up a very spirited fight, courtesy of our now current chair, Madam Wangare. But the reason why it has become a success, or it is seeming to become a success, it is because it has been a team effort. And the truth of the matter about quacks, these quacks do not just open these offices without blessings from some of us. And our biggest challenge, and I can tell you, Senior Masese, which you can also confirm, that our biggest challenge in the fight against quacks is because these quacks are being harbored by us. We have stooped so low that some of us are actually in the employment of quacks. And that is where we are, and that is the reality we need to face. You have toiled, you have burned the midnight oil to get where you are. You get into this very hard job market, only for you to come and be employed by a clerk, a former clerk, a quack from nowhere. So if we do not come together and put up a spirited fight against the quacks, it shall just continue to be mere talk. As we speak, here in Nakuru, there are several we've managed to arrest. Their cases in court. There are others we are following up. But the challenge that we get, you know that this is a quack. The moment you put out word to members that we are on the trails of these quacks, our very own members alert these quacks. The moment you enter into that office, you find an advocate sitting there. What do you do? Because the moment I enter into that office, I know this is a quack. I confront them, and then I open the office. I find an advocate seated there. The advocate tells me, you check me up if I'm not qualified. You go to the LSK portal, you find they are active. The fight ends there. And that is the challenge that we are having, especially as a branch. we had, I was spearheading the team that was to fight these quacks. We had agreed as a branch that those names will be forwarded to us. And in conjunction with the leadership of the various centers and branches and chapters, you are to assist us, even at least get police assistance. And on the days that we can, show up with surprise visits. But even that was thwarted because by the time we are planning those things, those quacks are way ahead of us. And I don't think these are special people. It's because they have insiders among us. So unless we ourselves decide, it is a very intentional move. Unless we decide that we want to end the fight against quacks, we might just as well be even inviting them for these AGMs. Because we shall not succeed unless you people here stop doing what you are doing out there. Stop harboring these quacks. As long as you're harboring them, and that is how our profession will become eroded. Especially my plea especially goes out to the young advocates. Do not fall prey to be employed by these quacks. To the seniors that are there, and for me, I will not be afraid to say it. You are the people who have allowed your offices to be used by these quacks. Because we have information, very senior advocates have opened branches in some of these centers. And this is where these quacks are sitting. Where do you expect these young advocates to go? Of course, they will fall prey to those quacks. They all want to survive. They all want to make a living. They all want to show something for their degree. So as you are a senior, why would you open a branch and station it in a center where you know you do not have enough resources to support it? Instead, you station there a quack. Because those clerks that you're saying are running those offices, those are the quacks we are talking about. So, Sidia Mwasese, I know we will get information from your center. You forward to us the names. And also, as you go back with the message to your center. Any advocate who has a branch there and does not have a station advocate, they should close shop. Because for us, all we need to do is when we arrive there, we ask, does this office have an advocate? If it doesn't have an advocate, then we know these are the offices that are being used to enable these works, and to enable some of these things that are going on. Because I know the areas of practice that have really been affected is succession matters and conveyancing. And we see now conveyancing has been so bad that we've even emboldened registrars. The issues that we were having in Nyahururu with the registrar were because of those quacks. The issues that we're having here in Nakuru at the lands registry is because of those quacks. They become so emboldened, you as an advocate cannot get an appointment to the registry. That you have to go through a quack or a proxy for you to get an appointment. You can imagine how bad we've eroded the profession. And then when these people are taken to court, we know, yes, the Constitution provides that everyone has a right to representation. But what are we doing? We apprehend some of these people with a lot of evidence. On the day of plea, I'm seeing a colleague right there taking plea. What are we doing? We are the ones who are eroding the profession. So some of these things, we really need to do a lot of soul searching within ourselves, whether we really want to fight these quacks. Otherwise, we should just let them thrive. If that is the way we shall be. It has been a year of us trying to see how we can go about it. At least with Nakuru, because of the chapter council that has been there and the current one that is there, they're very intentional about it. And I would like to take note of the efforts of the chair, Madam Wangari, because she's very, anytime you call her about works, she will show up. So unless the other centers and chapters take up the same mantle, it will be a difficult fight for us. It is actually a life-endangering affair. Because if I start coming alone to your center that I don't know, I will be targeted. It is upon you to ensure that when you show up, we have the necessary security, and there are mechanisms to follow up and ensure even after you apprehended and closed those offices, they do not reopen. So that is where we stand with the issue of works.
Okay, thank you. Let me just also let me just also address. I think there was an issue that had been raised by the Nakuru chapter chair, which had not responded to. That is on the legal aid week that is coming up. One of the almost immediate agendas that will be dealt with by the council that is coming after this, that will be inaugurated during this AGM, is on that issue of the legal aid week. So I want to believe they will fast track the disbursement of funds so that all centers and chapters will be able to undertake the legal aid week. There was a question on the direct expenses of the branch. Yes, I want to confirm the branch does not have any employee currently. So we are not paying anyone a salary, we're not paying any rent. You will see, of course, the financial reports will be presented. The direct expenses of the branch largely consist of maybe the branch meetings, the council meetings, because there is a limit on which we are allowed to spend as a council in terms of council allowances. And this one is not even set by us. It was set by the LSK head office. And once in a while, we've done capacity building for our center leadership. We normally call the leaders from our centers and chapters, and we do capacity building for them. Over and above that, we really do not have much of in terms of expenses. The rest of the funds are normally cascaded down to our chapters and our centers, because as I've explained, that is where much of the action happens. But we also come in sometimes, depending on the nature of the activity that a chapter or center has, we sometimes boost their budgets. For example, the beautiful lounge that was opened, lounge. Is it lounge or lounge? These are a group of schools. The beautiful lounge that was opened at the Nakuru Law Courts for the advocates, it was primarily funded by branch funds. Sometimes the Nakuru chapter hosted a golf tournament. The branch funds boosted, did not pay for the entire expense, but it boosted such activities. So that is what constitutes mostly in terms of the direct expenses from the branch. But we are not paying any salaries to anyone. We are currently not paying any rent to anyone. Okay, I think that answers the question. Okay, I'm not seeing. I don't know if there's any intervention on the virtual platform. If there isn't, I will desire that we move because of time. We have really delved on the issue of funds. Ordinarily, I thought that would have been dealt after we have presented the financial report, but I think it will spare us a lot of discussions after the financial reports have been presented. So at this point, I want to invite our auditor. I want to invite our auditor to come and make a presentation on the branch accounts. But as she comes, let me just confirm that under our LSK regulations, the auditor is normally appointed by the AGM, the national AGM. And that is the firm that audits all the branch accounts, including the national branch accounts. So our accounts were audited by a firm known as Ronald's LLP, and we have their representative here. I think she will be able to introduce herself and thereafter give her presentation on the accounts. Karibu.
Thank you, Chair. Good afternoon, members. My name is CPA CFE Evelyn Kanjagwa. It's a pleasure to be with you this afternoon. As the chair has mentioned, I work at Ronald's LLP. I'm a partner there, and we are also the LSK auditors. So I will take you through the financial statements for the year ended 31st December 2023. I will do an overview of how we performed in the year, and then I read the opinion. So if you have the accounts with you, I will start with the statement of income and expenditure. It has been mentioned, I think we have really spoken about the funds during the question and answer session. So really, I'm just happy to take you through the actual numbers and the expenditure. So for the year under review, that is December 2023, we had income of 10.9 million, which was a significant increase from what we had in 2022 of 2.8 million. In terms of expenditure, we spent a total of 5.1 million Kenya shillings, giving us a surplus for the year of 5.8 million. In terms of the breakdown members, on page number 13, you'll see the respective items for the revenue, the respective activities that were funded in the year. From the cocktail party that we got 300,000, the legal awareness 200,000. We had grants reimbursements of 1 million, and the devolution fund of 9.4 million, giving us that 10.9 million that I have read out. In terms of the general expenses, and as has been mentioned, we have funds that are transferred to the different centers and chapters. So in terms of expenditure, we spent the 5.1 million. Is that breakdown there of what our bank charges were, how much we spent in terms of capacity building expenses. The chapter support was 1.7 million. We had council meeting expenses, the end year party, the Justice Cup, the legal awareness, and the Nyandarua ELC expenses of 85,000, giving that total of 5.1 million. So members, that's our income and expenditure statements. In terms of our balance sheet, on the next page, number 9, rather page number 8. Our cash and bank, this is money that was in our bank account by the close of year, was 10.9 million. And you will see if you followed the previous page that we were at, that surplus that we've had there and the bank balance that was there in the previous year, just that movement would make the accumulated fund of the 10.9, which just balances off the balance sheet. In terms of our cash flow statement, we of course just show the surplus for the year and what we had in the beginning and the movements for the year to close at that bank balance of the 10.9 million. So that's how we have spent our funds, how we have received, spent, and what is in our bank account. So members, allow me to read the opinion, which is my mandate. I think I was just helping the treasurer to read through the figures, but my role as an auditor is to give an opinion. We have audited the accompanying financial statements of Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch, from page number 7 to page number 13, which comprise the statement of financial position, the statement of income and expenditure, the changes in fund balances, and the cash flows for the year then ended. In our opinion, the accompanying financial statements give a true and full of the state of affairs as at 31st December 2023. We usually audit in accordance to applicable international financial reporting standards and the Law Society of Kenya Act. The basis of opinion, we conducted our audit in accordance with and we believe that the audit evidence we received was sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for opinion. Key audit matters. When we audit, normally we have areas of improvement that we noted. For the expenditures and the incomes we received, we received sufficient information and evidence to support the different expenditures. Therefore, we didn't have anything significant that we would want to draw to your attention. Just a reiteration on what our responsibilities are when it comes to the financial statements. We express an opinion on the financial statements. As we do that, we exercise professional judgment and professional skepticism. We identify and assess the risks of material misstatements of the financial statements, whether due to fraud or error, and design and perform audit procedures that are responsive to those risks. We obtain an understanding of the internal control relevant to the audit. We also evaluate the appropriateness of any estimates and disclosures that are made. We conclude on the appropriateness of the use of the going concern and just check the overall presentation and structure of the financial statements. As required by the Law Society of Kenya Act of 2014, we report to you based on our audit that we have obtained all the information and explanation which, to the best of our knowledge and belief, were necessary for the purposes of our audit. In our opinion, we have kept proper books so far as appears from our examination of those books, and the statement of financial position is in agreement with the books of account. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you so much. Let's appreciate her for the wonderful work. Yeah, those are, she's our auditor, as was appointed by the AGM, the national AGM. We have audited our books, and that is the financial report. I would want to allow any comment. I know we have already discussed a lot about funding, but now that the numbers have been crunched, I think we can still allow a few more, 2-3 more interventions, if any, on the actual numbers. Let me check if there is any on the virtual platform. We are not seeing any. Let's check if there is, let's check on the chat section if there is any comments in the chat section. Maybe as they check, one intervention that I will make, and maybe we may not reach to an agreement at this time. I need to clarify something. You will see from the balance sheets that our income short from 2.8 to 10, and people may wonder, hey, what did these guys do? Did they sell Vipingo Ridge to someone? This is what I was saying. We found our funds had been locked up due to the governance issues, and one of our main agenda when we took office was to unlock the society's funds. So with the help of this council and with the help of the then council, the LSK council, we were able to unlock these funds. And it's part of what we have been using to to disburse to our members and for the activities we've been doing, like the Justice Cup, the legal aid funds. But we have also been thinking, and maybe this will be brought appropriately in an SGM. We have been thinking maybe we may want to make a capital investment on this on some of these funds, so that it doesn't all get lost through operational expenses. But that is something we will bring to you at an appropriate time, and depending on how the funds will be available. What I am quite certain and I am proud of is that this council has been able to use the funds appropriately, and at least to the best of my knowledge, no funds have been lost, and these funds are available for use by our members. That is something I just want us to start thinking about, so that when we call you maybe for an SGM and we say we have thought about these possible capital investments, what will members think? Then they will know that there's some thought process that has gone through or has been behind that. I don't know if there is anyone who wants to make an intervention. I don't want to knock anyone out, but if there isn't, I would request. Oh yes, I'm told there is an intervention on the virtual platform. There's a hand. Please unmute yourself and proceed.
Mr. Muchela.
Yes, Mr. Kiprono.
I think not to be known to be the warlike individual and the warlord in the Mideast, what you are doing is commendable, and we appreciate. We appreciate so much. I've had the comments of the auditor on the issues of the funding and the distribution. I think it's important to note that unlike the previous council who are on record, so that I may not be condemned, I believe Mr. Kioro can be firmly condemned as the one who shut out the previous the previous council. Please, we want to appreciate you. We want you to continue to work hard the way you are working hard. And we allowed you. We want you to work for all our council members, all the way from Maralal to Narok. We need to identify that. And as LSK members, we do associate ourselves with yourselves, that whatever achievements you'll make, I'll not be seen as Kiprono who fought Aston Muchela all the way from being a chair to a retired chair or an emeritus. Kindly, please, work for us, disburse those funds, let us enjoy the funds. I'm waiting. I've sent my representative, Mr. Mutai, and I've told him that kindly ensure that pesa yenye inakuja Kericho ifike Kericho. Isipofika Kericho, ni mimi nakujia nayo Nakuru. And Muchela, you know I'll come for it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiprono. Thank you for those kind words. Just to confirm, Mr. Kiprono is the former chair of Kericho Center, so he speaks with a lot of passion because he speaks from a point of knowledge. Thank you, Mr. Kiprono. Okay, there's a comment there.
Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Kelvin Muniroko, P105 to 304023. So I'm hearing some whispers over here. The amount going to chapter support and the amount that went to the Justice Cup games are almost similar. And there is very little public knowledge about the Justice Cups games. We don't know how it got to around 1.1 million. So we need clarity, and we need to be sensitized on when these games are coming up, how to participate. Another issue is, Mr. Muchela, you have stated that you are not allowed to give chapters and centers money to just be laying around. And you know, centers and chapters are the ones which are closest to the people. So is it that you are not allowed, or you're not willing to devolve it to the chapters and to the centers? Maybe we need clarity on that. If it's an issue with the regulations, can we work around it so that the chapters are funded and the centers are funded? The money can stay there. If it's a surplus, it can go back to the branch. Can we work around it? That is something we need clarity on. And I think Mr. Ndisho had asked a question which I never had the answer clearly. Maybe you can, did you get your answer? All right, I got it. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Bunyoroko. I think
kindly clarity.
I think Mr. Bunyoroko, thank you. I think if I was Elisha Ongoya, I would have asked, are you with us? Because I think most of the issues you have raised, I think they were actually addressed, save for that issue of Justice Cup, which I'll give a clarity on. And I think Mr. Ndishu was satisfied with the answer that I think I responded to. But for your benefit, let me just clarify on that issue of funding of centers. I clarified that the funding of centers and chapters is different. Centers are given money based on their budget and based on the availability of funds, and they are able to plan how that money is utilized. Based with that is the chapter leadership. They are the ones who will determine how they use their funds. Chapters are allowed to open bank accounts. For example, Penina will tell you they have a bank account for Nakuru chapter, which is domiciled at Stanbic Bank. We disburse monies directly to that account, and they are the ones who determine how they use that money. Centers do not hold bank accounts. So, and that is why, as an issue of governance, you cannot just give someone maybe 200,000 and say, you stay with this money until when the activity will come up. I think that will raise a lot of governance issues. You know very well that we are human beings. Ukinipea tu pesa nikushikie na mimi sio bank, trust you me, nikiambiwa kwangu kuna chomeka nitatumia hiyo pesa kupoesha maji, kupoesha moto. So as an issue of governance, we were told that monies for the centers can be retained at the branch's account. Whenever the center has an activity, they do a requisition, and that activity is funded. So that centers do not necessarily say we cannot do our activities because we don't hold money, but we are not allowed. It's not the council that has refused to release money. It's because we operate by what we are told are best financial practices. On the issue of Justice Cup, yes, let me confirm, Justice Cup is normally a very expensive exercise, especially for Rift Valley branch. And the reason why it is expensive, it's because we try as much as possible to make it all inclusive for all our centers. For the time we have been in office, we have had Justice Cup held in, one was held in Nairobi, another one was held in Kisii, and another one was held in Embu. And in all these times, we took a team of approximately 30 persons. We took a team of approximately 30 persons to all those various places. And we are allowed by our regulations to give an allowance for these people who are, especially the ones who are participating in the various games. If you are taking people to, for example, when we went to Kisii, people went there on a Friday, they spent the night there, they the Justice Cup took the entire of Saturday, actually it ended very late on Saturday. They had to spend the night there and they traveled back on Sunday. So all that is an expense that was covered by the branch. Same when they went to Embu, they had to spend a night there. That is an expense that was covered by the branch. In terms of sensitizing and making public, I want to believe a lot of publicity is normally done when it comes to the Justice Cup. I think Mr. Imbwaga must be shifting on his chair when he hears that that people don't know about because I normally see how he keeps on telling people register for those who want to maybe play football, those who want to go for swimming, those who want, there are various sports, volleyball, and members are normally notified. Unfortunately, and this one I don't want to blame anyone, unfortunately, sometimes we overlook these notices that we are normally given on our WhatsApp platforms. And maybe it's because of the various discussions that happen. So once a notice is posted, it may actually pass. Someone may fail to pick it up. But I know we advise members of the Justice Cup, and we invite people to participate, to give their numbers. They normally even do training. Mr. Yogo has been our football captain here in Nakuru, and they normally go to NSC for practice. Rose Nyawira, she leads the women team. So I know we have tried as much as possible to make it public, but I take your comment. We will still try to maybe improve that publicity.
I know the issue of publicity, probably what you're talking about, I understand it, but the reason was, and probably maybe Chair might not know, that the current WhatsApp group that we have, especially for Nakuru, most of the young bar, most of them are not in that forum. So I know that's where the challenge came in. And personally, I was not in your group until when I think it was just a couple of days after we already confirmed, we already sent the lists to national office. That's when I was added to your group. And that is the reason why probably most of you were not aware of the Justice Cup. But again, you do not read your emails from the national office. If you read your emails from the national office, I think they sent close to about 3 emails, reminders. So we also encourage you to be looking at your email, the email that you gave out to the national office. There's normally so much information that circulates there. So always just make a point to read on it, and always make a point, because the other thing that I noticed in the young bar forums, you do not have most of your chapter and branch leaders in those forums. So when you do not have them there, most of the information that is communicated to the general membership, you might not be able to get it, especially that now we are in the age of technology and most of the things are virtual, where we don't really interact physically. So you might not really, so make a point to know, like I know that there's a current, the Nakuru chapter has a new representative coming in. Make a point to make sure that she's part of your forum, because the branch communicates through the center and chapter representatives, and then the ones now communicate to the general membership. So this goes across to not just Nakuru, but the entire branch. Ensure that, because mostly the young bar is the one that is not captured, and the young bar are right now the majority. And we actually would want you to participate more in those activities, especially the Justice Cup. We want you to participate more and more in those games. So,
can I reply?
Yes, sir. You can have an intervention.
Yes. Well, on the issue of the Justice Cups games, I think you really need to work hard and better on that, and it has been explained. My issue about funds is the chapters are complaining that they have to beg, and they have to constantly be on the chair's phone trying to get the funds. So maybe my question should be, is the branch willing to devolve the funds and put it in the chapter accounts so that whenever there's activity, it can be utilized for the activities, because the chapters and the centers are the ones which are closest to the members. So is the branch willing to devolve? That is the question.
Okay, thank you. I will still rehash the response that I gave. The funds for the chapters are actually devolved. We put in money in the accounts and they use them according to how the center council, how the chapter council approves. So that money is we normally devolve. We give it to them. For the centers, once they have an activity, their representative brings it. The center council will plan the activity. They will bring the requisition, and it will be funded. That is the regulation that we have been given from the head office. I don't know whether I'm making sense or I would have better words than that. Because as I mentioned, we are not allowed to distribute the monies to sit with the centers wherever they are. We are not allowed. And if we were to do that, the auditor will come and give a report here that will not be so favorable. They will say that we have mismanaged the funds, because the auditors, based on how they have been told, this is how the branch is supposed to disburse funds. This is how they're supposed to use funds. So if they were to get reports that we gave funds to all centers and those funds are lying in some unknown accounts, because centers don't hold bank accounts, then we will have breached the regulations. Okay. I'm not seeing any other intervention, so I want to end that the discussion on the accounts at that point, which will therefore bring me to the requirement that we'll want, having us had the accounts, we've interrogated them and we've had a discussion on them. We may need someone to propose those accounts and someone else maybe to second those accounts so that they can form part of the official branch records. I would prefer the proposer and the seconder to come from a member, not a council member, but from the floor. Anyone to propose the accounts? Both physically and virtually. Yes, we have a proposer.
Good afternoon, members.
Afternoon.
I'm Dungo Mishohe, member number 18650/21, practicing under the style of Dungo Mishohe and Company Advocates with the Nakuru chapter. I rise to propose the accounts. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ndungu. Do we have a seconder? Could be even on a virtual platform.
I second, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Kiprono. So the accounts will be adopted as a part of the official branch records. Now we'll move to the next item on the agenda. And this is now the swearing in of the new branch council members. I think at both chapter center levels and branch level, we all did our elections so that we can get a new leadership. The LSK Act and the regulations provide that the leaders will take office for a period of 2 years, whereafter they can be elected or re-elected. And this office that you see in front of you came into office on 15th of October 2022. So this is the time when their first term has come to an end and an election was done. Let me just report, because I know this is a matter within public knowledge, that there was a challenge about the election, and someone went to court. A member went to court in Bomet, challenging the elections, but that case has since been withdrawn. As we speak, there are no orders challenging this AGM or challenging the elections. So the members who are being sworn in are the members whom you elected, will validly assume office as soon as they take the oath of office. So at this point, I'd want to at this point, I'd want to invite the chair of the elections board, the elections committee, Mr. Jackson Wafula is the one who conducted the elections. He will come and confirm who are the persons who are validly elected, both as chapter and center representatives and the other officials. The way we have been leading the branch is that the entire branch votes for the chairperson, the entire branch votes for the vice chairperson, the entire branch votes for the secretary. And then all the other representatives are voted for in their respective centers and chapters. Once that council is formed, then within the council, they will elect a treasurer and also elect an assistant secretary. So that is how the council has been formed. So Mr. Jackson Wafula, you can come.
Thank you, Mr. Mchela. Leadership of the branch, all senior advocates present, all my colleague advocates, good afternoon. Yes, as you have been told, my name is Jackson Wafula. My friends added Chapakati. Yes. So I was the chairman of the election committee board. And under this committee, we were 5 members. I'll just want to acknowledge them. I was the chair. There was Thomas Okinyi, who was our secretary. He's from Narok Center. There was Joyce Waniki, who was our treasurer from Nyahururu. There was Franklin Koko from Kericho chapter. And there was Edwin Kipkulei from Kabarnet Center. If any one of them is here or on the platform, they can just register their presence. Yes, we have one Joyce Moniki at the back. Thank you. I will also want to recognize ISPAC, the Institute of Public Accountants of Kenya, for providing technical support in ensuring fairness and transparency of the elections that were conducted on 10th September 2024 in their abstention. As you have been informed, these elections were carried out on 10th September 2024. There was a petition challenging these elections, actually not the fairness and transparency of the elections. So that should go on record, but the same was actually withdrawn. These are the members Probably I can start with the positions that were vied. We have the position of the chairperson of the branch. We have the position of the vice chairperson and the position of the secretary general of the branch. We have chapter and center representatives who were elected in their respective chapters and centers. We will recognize all of them. With the powers vested in me as the chairperson of the electoral committee, I would like to pronounce and confirm the following as duly elected for the various positions of leadership in the LSK Rift Valley branch. And the same include the following. We have the chapter, the chairperson of the chapter of the branch, who is Aston Mchela, the vice chairperson, Stephen Muhogosi Mbwaga, the secretary general, Grace Njeri Gidai. I will also want to acknowledge elected center and chapter representatives. We have the Molo center representative, who's Walter Unchuru, engineer center representative, Mary Nyawira, Nakuru chapter representative, Flora Wairimu Gedi, Kericho representative, Julius Kiprotich Mutai, Sotik center representative, Mercy Chokore, Bomet center representative, Wycliffe Kiprono Cadet, Nyahururu center representative, Wycliffe Kiprono, Nyahururu center representative, Joyce Wanjira Mwaniki, Mararal center representative, Kelvin Kihoro Kimani, Naivasha center representative, Edward Mbugwa, Kabarnet center representative, Edwin Kibet, and Narok center representative, Gladys Chepruto. I confirm and pronounce those as duly elected to serve the branch. The 2 years allocated by law. And before I can initiate the process of swearing them in, I would just like to highlight the following. These are the election committee findings from the September 10th elections. We noted, sadly, that there was a very low show of interest in the branch leadership positions. We received only around 7 applications, which was a very low count, considering the fact that the branch itself, as it is, it has a voting block of about 649 members. These are active members as per the LSK register, as we have it now. Another finding was that there was a very low turnout of members to vote. And we also noted that most of the members who just voted were mostly young lawyers. So that brings us to another finding, that there was this interest of senior advocates in the leadership and elections of the branch. Now, I'll go straight to the swearing, the oath, taking of oath of office
Okay, as he does that, I'll just would want to invite we have a commissioner who will assist in the taking the swearing. That is Mr. Masese. Mr. Masese, karibu. Mr. Masese is a commissioner for oaths, so he will assist in the administration of the oath.
Okay. So what I'll do, I'll start with the centers and chapters representatives. So when I call the representative, you just come and take your oath. We'll start with the Molo representative, who is Walter Onchuru. Kindly step forward.
Under the odds and the statutory declaration, Act Cap 15, Laws of Kenya, now call upon you, take oath of office and be ready to serve effectively. Now take place your hand.
I,
Yes, I, Sema,
I, Walter Onchuru, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the law, Society of Kenya, the rule of law, administration of justice, and without fear and all favor, I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive member for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
We'll go to the next representative from engineer. Kindly step forward. This is Mary Jawira.
I,
Mary Nyawera Mureithi, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the law, Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor, I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive member for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
thank you.
All right, we can go to the next center representative. Kericho Center Representative Julius Kiprotich Mtai. Kindly step forward.
Right hand.
I, Julius Kiprotich Mutai, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor, I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive member for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Thank you.
Clap for them. We go to the next Nakuru chapter representative, Flora Wairimu Gadi. Kindly step forward.
Is absent?
Wairimu? All right. We can go to the next. Sotik Center Representative, Mercy Chepkorir. Step forward, kindly.
I, Mercy Chepkorir, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the law, Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor, and I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive member for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Okay, next, Bomet Center Representative, Wycliffe Kiprono Cadet. Kindly step forward. Thank you.
I, Wycliffe Kiprono Cadets, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without any fear or favor, I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive of the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch.
Thank you. Wycliffe. Okay, next, Nyahururu Center Representative, Joyce Wanjira Moniki. Kindly step forward.
I, Joyce Wanjira Moniki, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor, I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Thank you, Joyce. We go to the next, Mararal Center Representative, Kelvin Kihoro Kimani. Kindly step forward, Council.
I, Kelvin Kihoro Kimani, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, without fear or favor. I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive member for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Thank you, Mr. We go to the next, Naivasha Center Representative, Edward Mbugwa. Kindly step forward.
I, Edward Mbugwa Macharia, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, without fear or favor. I will well discharge my duties as a branch executive member for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Thank you. Kabarnet Center Representative Edwin Kibet Mwita. Kindly step forward. Kabarnet Center Representative Edwin Kibet Mwita. Kindly step forward. Okay. All right, now we go to the Narok Center Representative Gladys Cheruto.
That is Cheruto, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and the administration of justice, fear or favor, discharge my duties as a branch executive member of the Law Society of Kenya.
Thank you. Now I'll need some guidance here. We have two center representatives who are not around. How do we? I saw Flora Gadi around. I don't know whether she's back. All right. Now we will go to the top leadership. These were the elective positions within the branch itself. I would like to participating in this. And Maguna Kairo.
Bye. Bye, Robin.
The Secretary General, Grace Njeri Gidai, kindly step forward.
Bye. Hi, bye.
I,
Grace Njeri Gidai, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor. I will well discharge my duties as the Secretary General of the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Thank you. All right, on to the next. Now the position of the vice chairperson of the branch. Stephen Imbuaga Mhogosi, kindly step forward. Kindly, Ms. Jerry, you can come back for a minute. You can proceed.
I, Imbwaga Stephen Mkokosi, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor, I will discharge my duties as a vice chairperson for the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
All right, on to the next. Now, the topmost position. This, according to our records, was unopposed and is the current serving chairperson. Aston Muchela Ongenge, kindly step forward.
Ongenge, do swear by the Almighty God that I will at all times uphold the objects of the Law Society of Kenya, the rule of law and administration of justice, and without fear or favor, I will well discharge my duties as the chairperson of the Law Society of Kenya, Rift Valley branch. So help me God.
Thank you, Mr. Mchela. And thank you, Senior Omoyo, for the task. Thank you, members. That was all with the election committee. We appreciate you for your participation and your support for the electoral committee. And just a parting shot. We still have a petition from Kericho. Probably they should consider that. Dropping it.
Thank you. Let us appreciate Mr. Jackson Wafula, nicknamed Chebukati, for the wonderful work that he has done. He's become the standing IEBC chair for the branch. He also conducted elections for Nakuru Center, and we really appreciate him for the service. Swearing having taken place, I think the persons who have taken oath of office should actually come and assume office. So kindly, if you are amongst the persons who have just taken oath of office, you should have not gone back there. Kazi wa inaanza immediately, with immediate effect. With immediate effect. And as they come, let me take this opportunity to thank those who are here and are living, and actually all of them, because they have tirelessly served this branch for the last 2 years. I can assure you, sometimes it takes a lot of personal sacrifice. You have to forgo some of the things you will have done. Maybe even sometimes your office gets a hit because you give time to the branch. So let's appreciate them. Let's appreciate all of them, those who have served, as they step from the podium and as the new team comes in. How when you wamechukua oath of office, kwani wanaogopa ofisi? They should have been here. They should have been here. Kazi wa inaanza immediately. They should have been here. They need to take their positions. We really appreciate those who are living, and we welcome those who are coming in. Welcome those who are coming in. Thank you. Thank you, Karibuni. Karibuni. And just for clarity, those who have now taken office, we will be having our first meeting immediately after this AGM. Immediately after the AGM, we will be having our first meeting. So musiende nyumbani, kama mtu alikuwa amepanga homecoming, taifanya baadaye. We'll be having a meeting immediately after this. I think that brings us to the end of that formal session. We shall follow up with the members who have not taken oath. We shall follow up with them so that they will be able to take their oath of office. Having said that, we want to open a very brief session for AOB. We want to open a brief session for AOB, but part of the AOB, we will also give our ABA chair an opportunity to say something. So I will give him as the last AOB for him to make some few remarks. But we open, the regulations allow us to take an AOB that may be admitted. And you realize AOBs are normally not for discussions and resolutions. If it was something that required a resolution, it should have come as a motion, but AOB is just for noting. I saw a hand here. Maybe a microphone can be facilitated to Mr. Sigilai.
Thank you, members, for your patience and for sitting all this time without standing up to stretch and something like that. It shows your endurance. Now, there was that AOB that I addressed earlier on about Nyahururu law courts being a court without a physical courtroom or building, as well as the fact that the judges that were there formerly for the High Court and the ELC, all of them were taken away to a newly born court, and up to now they have not been replaced. So in Nyahururu, we need a court building for both the ELC and the High Court, and more to that, we urgently need sitting resident judges, both for the High Court and the ELC. That was my first AOB. The other one is a concern by a certain member that the Nakuru chapter having about 400 members, it means in every election, whenever we meet here, the likelihood of having a chairman and a vice chairman coming from this chapter will always be like the norm. Can we have something like negotiated democracy or the possession of the chairman being circulated around the chapters in the future so as to avoid a situation whereby the two posts become monopolized? We also have to look at the third gender rule, which is constitutional, so that for every 3 men, one should be a lady, and for every 3 ladies, one should be a man. I don't think that is the position as we look at the newly elected officials. The other thing is that I was once one of the Chebukati's team, and we were beginning from scratch. Don't you think it is important for us to have a secretariat which will be having files and records from the date of the inception of the first branch officials up to now, which can also provide soft copies to members on how we are moving on? Records are very important. That's why you have the Bible. It is a book of written by many authors, but one main author, the Holy Spirit. So keeping records is very important. Last but not least, I'm of the view that members should be whipped up to apply for various positions, and the voter turnout has to be looked into. Otherwise, we can end up having officials who are elected by the minority. I don't know how we are going to do about it, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't know if there is any other AOB, but let me just mention something on Nyahururu. We were advised that there is a judge that is supposed to be posted. Maybe we'll just get the details of which judge is being posted to Nyahururu, but that had already been noted, and we were told there's a judge who is being posted to be stationed in Nyahururu, High Court judge. So we will confirm the details in due course. The other issues that have been raised, I believe they have been noted. We may not have responses now, but as I said, AOBs are largely for noting so that they can be addressed later. Yes, Mr. Masese?
Yes. Thank you, Chair. And the new team, welcome. Welcome to the task now. You are now with Mr. Mbua. I hope you do something for us. Now, I'm told that last year you had a meeting. The HE was in Kericho. Now, as the chair of Naivasa, I hope next year you'll come to Naivasa for Mbuzi and a dinner. You should be coming for a dance around the lake. Naivasa, we have very good hotels. I hope when I chair, you will consider that one, because I'm told at my age, I should be going to a church where they dance. And even not, I should go places where people at least dance. So please consider us as seniors. Maybe that's why most of them are not here. Please consider that. Number two, there is an issue with the WIPA matters. How it is here, that was in Feb. A good number, a team from Judicial Service Commission visited our center, and the same was read by Justice Mohammed. Remember, upon the ruling of the Supreme Court on the WIPA matters, some offices were closed, in particular, Nairobi. I don't know about Nakuru. And I remember, Naivasa is surrounded by more than 120 flower farms who are told to take their matters to the Directorate of Labor. I don't know any member has since ever succeeded in filing one single suit in the Directorate of Labor. In fact, pursuant to the said ruling, most of the victims of injuries are suffering. Please take up the matter, because I told Mohammed and the 10 registrar on their face what should have been done. Remember, the JOs at Naivasa had declined to take up matters on WIPA matters, irrespective of the CJ directions. And sometimes I wonder, when this direction were given, some of us still come to oppose those WIPA matters. Remember, there is only one sword. Mr. Mchera, if you are on the other side, you're using that same sword, it cuts across. Remember, these young lawyers you are seeing around cannot get a brief, because most of running down matters are taken up by seniors. Kuna mapwenyenye, I think you know those things. You can never get even a brief those people are well stationed. You go to any police station, you will get some people even sleep there. When are these young lawyers going to get even a single matter? And for those, I think I don't see it, most of them here around. Na nyinyi mukipata kitu, achi hata watoto kidogo kidogo. Don't eat everything. A good parent should ensure that a child is what? Amekula. Hii mnakula kila kitu. Mnaacha hawa wasichana hata sasa succession they can't do any even a share agreement, there is nothing. So wanamchera. Please petition, because I received a call the following day from the CJO's office regarding the same. They told the police on our side, please ensure. You know, we went to Rilara. Less than 17 members of the National Assembly passed that act, which has really affected our profession. Please ensure that you petition. Pass that message to our national office to petition for the amendment of the said act. That was my just suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think those comments have been noted. Maybe before I invite Mr. Menezes, I don't know if there is any visitor from outside the Valley branch, so that I would just recognize if there's anyone who is not from our branch. Okay, thank you. Mr. Menezes, karibu. Mr. Menezes is the chair of ABA, the former council member and a country representative, and he truly is a friend of this branch. I don't think he's someone whom I need to take or struggle to introduce. Most of you know him. So let's appreciate him even as he comes.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first of all thank Chair Pichela and his council for allowing me this opportunity to just briefly address you. I know my table is with the noisemaker Guto, and he said he came here principally for one purpose. Guto, what was that? To eat, correct. So I won't belabor the point, and I won't take too much time. For those who don't know me, my name is Byron Menezes. I practice all over Western. I have a few matters also in Nakuru before the High Court as well. Let me also take this opportunity to thank everyone who supported me in the elections. I think this is the first time I've been able to thank everyone, so let me take this opportunity as it is. I have a few leaflets going around. I hope everyone managed to see it or at least read the leaflet. It captures a few of our current programs at ABA. The first thing I wanted to do also, because I noticed we have a wide range of practice centers, is give out my phone number. I know Wangari has it, but anyone who needs my phone number, I'm going to read it out now. 0714 548 965. So within the leaflet, I'll be very brief. One, there's a last expense cover of 80,000. The slight challenges with this is some people don't nominate the right person on your PC. I will admit myself, when I applied PC this year, I put my accountant as my next of kin. So be diligent, don't be like me. You'll also know what I did in March, so be diligent. Make sure it's your correct next of kin. Men, that we just touch on men. The person you nominate as your next of kin, think very carefully and deeply about who it is. Now that I'm serving in council, we face some challenges from different parties coming forward saying they are the next of kin, when in reality on the document, there's someone else. The challenges then are the children and the dependents. Please, next year, there's a new ERP coming out and the new application for the PC. Make sure you put the right person on that form. We have a medical cover, which pays out 100,000. It's paid out when you're an inpatient. It cannot be paid after you have left. I know sometimes, of course, there's a medical emergency, but you need to be able to trust someone to access your phone. Ask me why I have a code on my phone, even though I'm single. There's a reason. But you need to be able to trust someone. I had a matter in Kisii that we were dealing with. Luckily enough, his relatives were able to access his phone, email us. We processed everything within a day over the weekend. Ensure that people know about these benefits. So if you're in an emergency, you can tell them ABA can come through for me for 100,000 inpatient. Please spread the word to everyone. I'll be very blunt. Now, ABA has only served Nairobi advocates. I can tell you in the whole of Western, we never saw ABA, ever. I've made sure that wherever I go, whether it's Busia, Sotik, Bomet, Kisii, Homa Bay, Migori, and Nakuru, and everywhere else, we try and spread the message of ABA because it is a benefit we are all entitled to as advocates. So those are the two main ones, the last expense and the medical scheme. ABA also educates children from nursery all the way to university if you pass away as the advocate. Again, very important that everyone is aware of this. It's very sad to see, we had a case 2 months ago where someone by chance met the colleague of their deceased husband. And that colleague said to them, look, go to ABA. They will pay for the school fees. And yet for 2 or 3 years, those children have been suffering. So make the effort to ensure that I know it's difficult, men, we know these issues, but ensure that people know about these benefits. We have a counseling partnership with the Counselors Psychologists Association of Kenya. The first session is free. ABA will pay for the first session. The sessions after that are discounted, I think at 1,500. Please, if you need to speak to someone, I know I've just given out my phone number, but sometimes I'm in Culture Mambo or sometimes I'm in different clubs. It's very difficult to get hold of me. I'd like to call you back at 5:30 in the morning or 6:30 when I get up. It may be too late. Please access this. It's all on our website. I keep sharing it to the groups. Please take notice of it. I know Chair had said the dynamics are young lawyers. I'm also a young lawyer, though I'm probably double the age of everyone here. But young lawyers, start your pension scheme. I know right now it's all about flashy cars, flashy suits, who can buy the most Mzingas on the table to show that I blew 20K or 50K. When you get to my age, you will suddenly realize you've made a mess of your life. Start your pension scheme. Dungu, you asked me just now about the pension scheme. We have a pension scheme that is underwritten by Britam and ICA Lion. Please start your donations to your own pension scheme. You will benefit it in 20 years. You can start with whatever you feel is comfortable for yourself, whether it's 500, 1,000, 10,000, so on and so forth. Guto, I know you like making noises and brown bottles. Please, once a month, stop the brown bottles and put it into a pension scheme. Sole proprietors. I served in Kisumu chapter 2020 to 2022. And some of the issues we had were especially with sole proprietors. In the unlikely event or the sad event that something happens to you, so your family walks into that law firm, able to get the money in that law firm. Is that it? No. Get your affairs in order. I dealt with very many cases where the children, one is a He was studying in Uganda law, and he came to me and said, look, you need to get the money out of this law firm. I mean, I went into the law firm, but I couldn't work anything out where anything was. Who suffers? It's just the dependents. So even as sole practitioners, you need to get the law firms in order so your own dependents can benefit. Please. Finally, or last but not least, there's a review rules committee that was set up. I'll be pleased to confirm that Christine Wangari from Nakuru sits in that committee. They're about to start operations. The whole idea of this review committee is to have an ABA that is created by members. I don't know how they're going to do the public participation and the reviews because we are not sitting in that committee now. But the whole idea is to do public participation. So we have an ABA that is created by members, and hopefully we'll have a new set of rules by next year at the AGM. And it's good that you all had an AGM last year, which this year, which I pushed very strongly. I don't know if I should ask for a clap. Devolution it's a principle in this country. We should embrace it more. So please, when the review committee keeps going round, give out all your ideas. A lot of people talk about benefits when we are still alive. That's what I'm working on at the moment. I can tell you we're going to sign with Bowes Optical. They're going to have a special rate for lawyers. It would be good, many of us who wear glasses. We're also working on a partnership with Hotpoint. So if you go to Hotpoint store, you get a discount. We're waiting to sign with them. We also have a few of the deals we're working with. I'm actually going to America as well to see if we can sign a deal with them for discounts for advocates. We also have a hotel in Nairobi called Hill Park, which is in Upper Hill, which has special discounts for advocates. So please, as Mr. Steve said earlier, read your emails. It's very easy to come here and hurl abuse at the council when all this information is in your email. On weekends, at least you'll have the phone numbers, the contacts, you know who to call. So with those few words, I hope I've managed to impart some information to everyone. Feel free to catch me after this. I'll still be around for another hour while I fill my belly. Well, I shouldn't say that, but thank you very much, Chair. Thank you very much, Nakuru and Rift Valley.
Thank you, Mr. Menezes, our ABA chair. I think we've all gotten what he has said. I don't want to repeat what he has said. I may actually do a poor job. While Mr. Menezes was making his remarks, we saw there was a request on the virtual platform by Mr. Yogo Ouko. We've seen you've raised your hand. Mr. Yogo, I think I know he's probably following all the way from the land of Trump. He's in US, but because of his love for the society, he had to log in. Mr. Yogo, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair. It's unfortunate I have to contribute after the ABA Chair Menezes. He was supposed to wrap up everything. Mine is, first of all, let me congratulate everyone who has been elected and those who served in the previous council. Also, congratulations for that term well served. Since it's AOB and it's just an observation, I would like actually to urge the new council, kindly ensure that we are up to speed, especially with matters procedure, so that you don't get caught up with court cases or such like things that will end up delaying your functionality. I know Madam Githae is a very experienced secretary, well capable, having served Nakuru chapter 2 previous terms back to back, and now she's gone on to greater heights. I know she will be able to issue those notices in good time. For example, you see, this AGM, it is practically impossible to have brought any motion because of the way the notices were issued, and motions have timelines. So kindly don't disenfranchise us and in that manner again in future. The other point of concern is those funds that are in the account. Kindly, as a council, as a matter of urgency, just find a way of sitting down, come up with a plan, and raise it with the membership in an SGM. Because the moment, and this is thanks to those capacity buildings you allowed us to attend, you facilitated us to attend. I served in the previous Nakuru chapter. Once the budgeting committee of the National Council sees that there is a colossal figure of 5 million unutilized in the account, it will be an uphill task to justify another budget. It will definitely be slashed because you are not utilizing. Why would you be allocated funds if you are not utilizing? So the idea of capital investment is very welcome. At least that's on my personal view. So kindly just make haste, discuss it. I'm sure members will see reason in that. There is nothing wrong with Rift Valley owning a parcel of land and even owning a building block where we can house our offices and let out a few affordable office spaces for our younger colleagues in the profession. So we can think big. So that is actually the main point of concern that I wanted to raise. Otherwise, I wish you all the best as you serve this term, and you were elected because people believe in you. And Senior Masese talked about sharing elective positions in terms of circulating. I think we lose what we are doing nationally is what we are also doing as a society. Let us not focus so much in the chair of the branch, looking at Muchela's seat, and we forget to elect capable representatives of the chapters and centers, because strong chapter and center reps make up a strong branch. So it might get to a point where it doesn't really matter who the overall chair is if we have good representation in the other position. And as it has been said, if Kericho can get to successfully become a chapter, the better, and other centers. If they become chapters, then there will be very little need to be calling Chela for those funds. And now, finally, on the issue of funds, the previous chapter, Nakuru chapter, we really suffered because, as you have you have indicated the procedure correctly. Chapters are supposed to come up with their budget and send the list of activities to the branch, and the branch is supposed to disperse the funds. But now you'll find that Nakuru under Opondo, we were very compliant. Opondo was that guy. We were very compliant. We always got our budget in time, our list of activities in time. But then when it comes to, like now, our current chair has raised the issue of next week's legal aid, you'll find that the branch was always late in disbursing these funds. And then when these funds are disbursed, I'll use an example of perhaps last year's end of year dinner. You'll find that the branch delays. It is captured from the beginning of our year. We captured that we intend to do an end of year dinner, and the budget was there. But then when it comes to allocation of funds, or rather disbursement, it's not done in time, such that we were forced to come back to our membership to contribute. Yes, it's okay, it's allowed, but it should not be the case, because what if Imbwaga contributes 5,000 and then Penina comes without contributing anything, and then perhaps Imbwaga feels like Penina should not be eating what he has contributed, just as an example. So it should be minimal circumstances where we go back to our members asking for funds, especially for things like parties and all. Let us be contributing towards things like charity. Because if we give you a budget, we raise a budget, and we have maybe budgeted for 700,000, And then 1 week to the event, you give us 200,000. It really disorganizes the whole operations of the chapters and centers. And maybe I feel the cry of Kericho when they say they have to look for you. And now you gave one reason, and now at least you have your secretary, your vice with you in Nakuru. So maybe operations will be slightly better. That is all. I wish you all the best, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Yogo. I think we have noted those comments. I'll only just need to clarify just one, but the rest we have noted that the notice for the AGM was actually sent in time. The notice was sent on 13th of September this year. We are required to send it at least 28 days before the AGM itself. But I get the idea that we could still, nothing stops us from sending it even maybe 2 or 3 months to the date. So I still get the idea that we can still send it even much earlier than what the regulations provide. Thank you. I want to close the AOBs at that point. So at this moment, because we want to bring this to an end, and let me just confirm, if you are here, you needed to have registered. I think there was a list that was circulating. If you have not registered, please make sure you are registered. Those who are appearing on the virtual platform, the system will capture your details, because we will need to forward the list of all the participants for purposes of our CPD point. And I still want to let me invite Mr. Menezes again. Byron, please allow me to request you to do something for us. If you could just kindly come. If you could kindly come. The persons who have served for this period of 2022 to 2024, the ones who are some are exiting, some were retained by their various centers and chapters. We just want to appreciate them by giving them a certificate, because we acknowledge their service to the society. So we shall I shall be calling them to come. As they come, they'll be given the certificate, and Mr. Menezes will assist us doing that. We kindly have Madam Grace Wangare Wangeshi, who has served as our vice chair. Let's appreciate them. Okay, our treasurer gave an apology. He's not in. We also have Mr. Kimani Kelvin Kihoro, who served as our secretary. Let's appreciate them for the service. Mr. Kibet is not. We have Macharia Edward Bugwa, who was a representative from Naivasha. Let's also appreciate him for the service. We have Mr. Imbwaga Stephen, who served as the Nakuru rep. Now he's serving as the vice chair. Let's also appreciate him. We have Mr. Mutai Julius Kiprotich, Kericho representative. Let's appreciate him. Mr. Birech Andrew Kiprono, Sotik representative. And we also have Mr. Geoffrey Kibet Kirui, our Molo representative. Let's appreciate him. We also have Mary Nyawira Mureithi, representative from Engineer. And appreciate her also as she gets her certificates. Mr. Minor Paul Cairo, representative from Nyahururu. We also have the Narok representative is not present. Last but not least, I also served. Okay, thank you, Mr. Byron. That brings us to the end of our AGM. At this point, I would want to invite any one of us would want to close for us with a word of prayer. Lunch will be served, so please don't go before you take your lunch. For the council members, immediately after lunch, let's just have a very quick meeting here where we are to deliberate on a few issues. Anyone who will close for us with a word of prayer? Anyone who feels like blessing the lunch and blessing? Okay, you can have some volunteered.
I know we've been seated for a while. We can stand for a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, once more we come for you. We're grateful for this AGM that is our Lord. We're grateful also for the new leadership, Jehovah Father. I do pray the Lord may lead them, may you grant them wisdom, Jehovah Father, even as they serve this branch, Jehovah God. We pray for the chapters and the centers, Jehovah Father. The Lord, may you grant them through their leaders, Jehovah Father, unity, Jehovah God, cohesion, Jehovah Father. But in all we do, Jehovah God, as advocates, Lord, we'll be able to work together as a team and speak together in one voice. We're grateful for the meal that we're about to take. I would ask, Lord, that you may bless it even as we partake it. Because in Jesus' mighty name, I do pray and believe. Amen.
Thank you. I declare the meeting officially to be dissolved.
The best.
Excuse me. Kindly, if you have the list of those who have signed, may I have it kindly? For purposes of CPD, very important. If you have it where you are, I can come for it. Thank you.
Naomba Baba, ninaomba, mikono nimeinua, nishike Baba, unifiche mikononi mwako, nionyeshe Baba wema wako, unifanye chombo chako. Ninaomba, naomba Baba, mimi naomba, sikudhani mimi nimekupa we huzuni kiasi hicho, dhambi mingi, maombi hayatoki, nisamehe Baba, uchovu na uvivu umenijaza moyoni, sina amani, naomba unipe raha, msamaha, naomba uwashe taa, popote niendapo, chochote nifanyacho sasa, nifungue macho, nipate kuona na kuhisi, nipate upako wako. Naomba Baba, ninaomba, mikono nimeinua, nishike Baba, unifiche mikononi mwako, nionyeshe Baba wema wako, unifanye chombo chako. Naomba, naomba Baba, mimi naomba, sikudhani mimi nikiteleza na kusulubu tena, uchungu mwingi, machozi ya kutoka, nisamehe Baba, unizibie ufa, nisijenge ukuta. Bwana umetukuka, naomba unipe raha, msamaha, naomba uwashe taa, popote niendapo, nifanyacho sasa, nifungue macho, nipate kuona na kuhisi, nipate upako wako. Naomba Baba, ninaomba, mikono nimeinua, nishike Baba, unifiche mikononi mwako, nionyeshe Baba wema wako, fanye chombo chako. Ninaomba, naomba Baba, mimi naomba, oh, Baba, mimi naomba, oh, 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 oh. Come on, we sing together. Call me out upon the waters, great unknown, the feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep. My faith will stand. Come on, you make it your prayer. And I will call upon your name, Jesus. You keep my eyes when oceans rise. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours. You are mine. Your grace abounds in deepest water. Sovereign hand will be my guide. Come on, you sing. What feet may bend. Come on. Come on. Won't stop. Jesus. I will call upon your name. Keep my eyes above ocean rise. Sorrow in your grace. You are